Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. And today we are talking about when God moves the environment. When God decides, I'm going to intervene here, God says, I'm going to do something here, and it completely changes the environment. So everything in my notes today is scripture. I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of commentary that comes from me. And we're starting in Joshua chapter 10, verses 12 through 15. And it says, "At that time, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord gave the Amorites over to the sons of Israel. He said in the sight of Israel, 'Sun, stand still at Gibeon,'" not S-O-N, S-U-N, like the sun in the sky. The sun, he's telling the sun to stand still at Gibeon, "and moon in the valley of Ajalon." And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? The sun stopped in the midst of heaven, and did not hurry to set for about a whole day. So for an entire day, the sun did not move. There has been no day like it before or since, when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. So Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Think of the might and the majesty that God can stop the sun for an entire day. That's one thing that can happen when God moves. Next, we've got Exodus 14, verses 21 to 31. And this is where Moses reaches out his hand and the whole Red Sea parts. And then when the Israelites get through, the Egyptians start to get stuck in the muck. And then God tells Moses to put his hand back up, and the Red Sea comes back over the Egyptians. That's an entire sea parting. Now, the interesting thing is, the Israelites went through on dry ground. It says it right in the Bible, that they went into the midst of the sea on dry ground. That's verse 22. And then the Egyptians' wheels got clogged, and so that they drove heavy. And the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from before Israel, for the Lord fights against the Egyptians." And then Moses stretches out his hand, and the water comes back over them. Next, in Genesis 7, verses 11 to 12. This is in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month. On that day, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. That's the great flood. Another time where God moved and the environment was completely changed. In Matthew 27, verses 51 to 56, "And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook and the rocks were split," permanently changed. "The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake, what took place, they were filled with awe and said, 'Truly this was the Son of God.'" Jesus dies on the cross, and there's this massive earthquake. Then let's not forget Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 2. "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God spoke, and earth is created." Then the last one in Revelation, well, there's more, but the last one we're covering today, in Revelation 6, verses 12 through 17. "When he opened the sixth seal, I looked, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of the sky fell to the earth as the fig tree sheds its winter fruit, when shaken by a gale. The sky vanished like a scroll that is being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. A total and complete environmental disruption at God's will. When He wants it to happen, God's strong enough to change this environment. Then the kings of the earth and the great ones and the generals and the rich and the powerful and everyone, slave and free, hid themselves in the caves among the rocks of the mountains, calling to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of Him who is seated on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand?" When God decides to move the environment, change the environment, He does it because He's that powerful. He is outside of the environment. He is the creator of this environment, and He can change it anytime He decides it's time to do it. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.